Thank you so much for joining us for engaging your audience online. You know, this is the kind of presentation that we love to do because this is the kind of presentation that we think opens your eyes a little bit, helps you to see what the possibilities might be for legal marketing and using the web and using online. And what we're going to talk about today is engagement. We're going to talk about interaction with your audience online in such a way that they get sucked in, that they get pulled into what it's like to do work with you online so that you are having a conversation with them, not so that you are marketing to them. So engaging your audience online. We're going to talk about a number of things today. Part one here, we're going to talk about Web 2.0. Next, we're going to get into a number of business-to-business examples of how firms are using Web 2.0 successfully to engage their audiences online. Then we're going to look at law firms in particular and how they're using the web, how they're engaging in some sophisticated and some more traditional ways. And we're going to look at some ways that you can get started and sell this idea internally to your firm. So first of all, this is an exciting time for us in this business. As you know, Hubbard is the leading provider of websites and web technology to large law firms, and we have been for many, many years. We work with about half of the AmLaw 200, more than 175 firms altogether, delivering web technologies, and now we are in a period when web technologies for law firms have come into their own, where using the web and using newer technologies is starting to become something that even the more senior partners are starting to engage with. And many other businesses, of course, have been using cutting-edge technologies, video and podcasts and blogs and all these kinds of different technologies beyond just the static page and text on a page to interact with clients for years. Law firms, according to the ABA, are now starting to catch up, and it's a terrific place to be for all the people in this room in legal marketing. So, you know, I agree with Business Week when they talk about the three phases of development on the web. Phase one, browsing. You remember when you first started using the internet? And what you did was you always went to a site, you typed in www.lawfirm.com, you used their navigation exclusively, you went to the navigation, you let them essentially dictate how you were going to find their content. Phase one. Phase two, searching. This is the era of Google, where now my parents and grandparents know what Google is. They search for things that they're looking for in Google. One of the interesting things in transition there is that my parents still put www.hubbard1.com in the Google search box in order to get to the Hubbard One site, but it is an era of searching. The third phase, sharing, where people are contributing to the development of website content, where they are deciding what they think is important on your website, they're sharing it with other people, and they're contributing content in order to elevate the billions of pages on the web to the ones that are actually most important. So most law firms, incidentally, I believe are right in here, transitioning from an era of browsing, where you assumed that people knew what they were looking for before they came to your site, to an era of searching, where firms that we're working with now are very interested in search engine optimization and search engine marketing, making sure that the content on their site is displayed appropriately in a way that they didn't used to be. The next phase, where other businesses are and where a few firms are, is in the sharing category, which you might also define as Web 2.0. A little bit more on Web 2.0. Web 2.0, you can think of it in two different ways. One way you can think of it, I'd say the less interesting way, is to think of Web 2.0 in terms of the new sites and new technologies that are out there. So it's the emergence of the new technologies and new sites after the boom and the bust of the dot-coms. New things like blogging and Wikipedia, and you think of this as a technology sort of issue. The other way, the more interesting way that you can think of Web 2.0 is as a different way to use the web, and as being fundamentally about user interaction and about user contributed content and about the users not just receiving information from the web but also engaging and interacting with the web. Examples really of both of these are blogs, wikis, which I'll show you in a second, folksonomies, social ranking, social networking. All of these are new technologies and new approaches to the web that are really 2.0. So this is a perfect example. Wikipedia is certainly Web 2.0 for a couple of different reasons. One of the things that's interesting, if you do a search right now for something that's a sort of general common term, chances are one of the top hits is going to be Wikipedia. Wikipedia is an encyclopedia, but it's not an encyclopedia that has an authority or an editor. The editor and the authority is simply the people who contribute and rank content and contribute to and edit the content on the site. So it's a community-based contribution encyclopedia and community-based contribution editing of an encyclopedia. And so you see something like folksonomy here, that's a definition that they're using. This definition was actually contributed to, created, edited, narrowed down, and polished by people who had an interest in making sure that this term was displayed here correctly. So no one authoritatively decided that this was the definition. The community decided that this is the definition of a folksonomy, which, as it says here, is a collaborative categorization of keywords, essentially collaborative, meaning the people who are looking at the things that they're categorizing are deciding what the keywords should be. This as distinct from a taxonomy like, say, the West key number system, where independent of the people who are using the system, the authoritative and appropriate words are decided ahead of time. Okay? So that's contribution, that's Web 2.0, that's Wikipedia and a folksonomy. YouTube is another great example of both kinds of ideas of Web 2.0. It's a new site, new technology that didn't exist until very recently, but it's also completely user contributed. Every video, everything you're watching on YouTube is put up there by an individual who wants you to see it. And then the ranking of the things which are featured and shown at the top, all of those things are related to who's watching what and what do people on the site see as important. Another example is Dig. This is a bookmarking site. Essentially, think about the fact that you've got billions and billions of pages out on the web. What this allows individuals to do is say, of all those billions of pages, within this category, I think this is the most important one. And the interesting thing here is that essentially what's happening is that individuals who are using the web are deciding what is important and what they want other people to see. This is an emerging technology. Interesting thing to think about here and throughout this presentation is not necessarily that it's important that your website be ranked on Dig, but that there may be an opportunity here to rank what's going on within your own site based on how people are using the site as opposed to how you want it to be used. And then blogs. Now, there's a very uninteresting way to use a blog, and then there's an interesting way to use a blog from my perspective. So blogs are, in their uninteresting sense, just a very simple mini site around topics. And mini sites have been out for years, but a blog essentially is a very simple text-based, very short entry mini site that is usually in reverse chronological order. That's the less interesting way to use a blog. The interesting way to use a blog is to actually contribute to a community and to help generate community. Most law firm blogs don't allow any contributions from the people who are subscribing to the blog. Most other blogs do allow contributions, allow editing, allow comments, and that's really what makes it interactive and engaging. So there are many, many, many more tools that are considered Web 2.0 and that you can use to engage your audience online, and that business-to-business marketers across the country, across the world, are using to engage their audiences online. And we're going to get into a number of these other tools here, look at the ones that are appropriate for business-to-business marketers in the next section.